Hey guys, welcome into Lemons to Lemonade Furniture. Today we're doing a shop tour and I'll show you exactly what it takes to run a successful furniture flipping business. Stay tuned. Welcome into Lemons to Lemonade Furniture. My name is Kara and flipping furniture out of our garage in Dallas, Texas has allowed our family to reach financial freedom. Come along with us and I'll show you how it's done. Welcome to my workroom. This is my everyday 9 to 5 job, or maybe 10 to 2. Make that 2 to 5. Well, you get the point. In the first part of this video, I'll show you all the items I use to run a successful furniture business. And the second part of this video, I'll reveal all my tips and tricks on how I built a custom order clientele. If you want to learn how to turn a profit flipping furniture, just keep watching. This is my long shelf of paints and stains. When I first started flipping furniture, I started off with probably 2 or 3 cans. After doing this for 2 years, I've built up to this. Our company started in 2020 after my husband lost his job due to COVID. We had very little money to spend on extras, so I started with just the basic colors, sold those pieces, and slowly added to my collection. I now have plenty of furniture stripper, different kind of polys to choose from, as well as, 15 different types of stains. These days, when I acquire a new piece of furniture, I try my very best to use something that I already have on hand. My favorite type of paint is Sherwin-Williams Krylon Chalky Finish paint. You'll see me use this on most every project, and the end of my shelf holds all of my options for furniture waxes, wood fills, and wood glue. Oh, hello there. My workbench over here is pretty small. I have a pegboard with all my sanding disc, both of my spray guns from Arbor Freight. Everybody's very interested in these spray guns. They come from Arbor Freight and they're fairly inexpensive and really easy to use. My compressor lives in its own little house, which I'll show you in a minute, but on top of my compressor, I keep all of my little drill bits and my Kreg jig, as well as my little caddy from Molly Ollie, which holds all of my masks for spraying. If you've seen my videos before, you know that our compressor lives in its own little soundproof house so we don't disturb our neighbors. It's a 20-gallon compressor that we got from Arbor Freight. I always like to add that we didn't start out with these big fancy tools. We bought them over time as we saved little bits and pieces from furniture flips that we would flip. We started out with just small sanders and regular paintbrushes like everybody else and worked our way up to these more expensive or more high-tech tools. In my last corner, I have my vacuums and this sweet little apothecary dresser. I got this at an auction for $3 and it holds lots of little goodies in all of its drawers. I like to keep all of my extra pulls in this one here. I've got a few drawers of pulls in here, as well as this next one has my Dremel and a few of my sanding pads. This last one here has one of my favorite tools, which is my furniture branding iron. I love this thing. My favorite must-have furniture flipping item is my 3x4 Ray Surf Prep sander. It is well loved, as you can see. I use this guy almost every day. Again, a lot of people are shocked by the price of this, but if you do this for a living, it makes my job so much faster. Again, I didn't start off with this guy. I gave myself a goal to flip 3 extra custom orders in 1 month, and I saved all of that money to make this investment in my business. After being over $40,000 in debt and paying all of that off, putting things on a credit card is just not an option for me. Instead, I set myself goals to meet, and with the extra money I set aside to make these bigger ticket purchases. In part 2 of this video, I'm going to tell you all about how I have built a custom clientele flipping furniture to save for some of these things I've shown you today, so be sure to stay tuned. Oh, look at those little lovelies just waiting for their turn. I'm sure you'll see most of these on some upcoming videos, so be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a flip. Love Vintage Furniture hosted this Show Me Your Workshop challenge today, and there's a playlist at the bottom of this video if you'd like to see other furniture flippers must-haves in their shops. Now that you've seen my workspace, let me tell you all about how I paid off $40,000 worth of debt and built a custom furniture flipping clientele. Part 2 starts now.
All right, guys, and the point you've all been waiting for, the question and answers about how I flip custom orders. So all of these questions were submitted on my Instagram page. You can find it here. I'll be sure to include the link for that. I do a lot of behind the scenes things on my Instagram, so if you'd like to follow me there, that's where I do answer a lot of questions for my videos. I film this on a green screen so that you all can see my actual invoice that I use, and hopefully that's helpful. And we'll start from the beginning. So the contract that I have up on here, the first question is, do you have them sign a contract? And the answer is yes, always yes. It's really important to have them sign a contract because on the contract, you're going to lay out all of the things that you have talked about with the client about doing to their piece. So you want your contract to be very, very specific, down to the color that I'm using, the style of finish that I'm going to do on the product, even the poly, the gloss on the poly or satin poly or whatever they've asked for. It's a good idea to put that on the contract as well. And when they drop the piece off at my house, I have them sign the contract and I make a copy of it for them. How do you figure out your pricing? Okay, so every furniture flipper is going to tell you this. Your pricing is going to be specific to your area. So please keep in mind that this may not go for everybody. These are the prices that I charge for the area that I live in, and the area that I live in warrants these prices. So you may think I'm on the high end, you may think I'm on the low end. I could be wherever, depending on where you live, but this is what works for me. So you can see on my invoice here, I've got a starting price of $275. This is just a mock-up invoice that I have, but this is my actual pricing for what I start with for a small dresser. A small dresser, in my terms, as you can see on the invoice, lists that it either has 3 or 4 drawers. So that is small. And then I move up from there. So as the dresser gets medium size or large size, which would be 8 or 9 drawers, I would add $100 per size that it's growing. So a medium dresser is $375. A large dresser is $475. And that is my starting point for those items. And you can see on my invoice, my starting point is 1 color of paint and 3 coats of poly to start on the piece. The next question is, do you ask for a deposit when you take custom work? Yes, absolutely yes. As your business grows and you get busier with taking custom orders, if you decide to do that, you're going to get booked fairly quickly, hopefully at least, right? So I only do 1 or 2 custom orders a month, booked out at least 3 or 4 months in advance, and you've got to hold your spot with me or else you will lose your spot. So when I'm originally contacted by somebody, they put down a $50 non-refundable deposit. So yes, they've got to make a deposit to hold their spot. And usually I do that on Venmo or PayPal or whatever you have that works for you. I just do $50. I have them leave a half of the deposit, half of the total when they come and drop off the piece. But it is just $50 to hold the spot on my calendar, and that's how I work it, and that's what works for me. The next question is, how do you factor in the cost of your materials? Okay, so that beginning price that you see on my invoice, like I said, that includes 1 coat of paint, the amount of poly that I'm going to use, a little bit of my cleaning product that I'll use on the piece, and a light sanding. So 1 or 2 sanding pads, a little bit of my simple green cleaner that I use. That will cover the entire quart of paint that I'll need to buy for their project. And then I buy my poly in the big cans like you've seen on my channel, And so that beginner price is meant to cover that amount of poly that I'm going to use on their piece. You'll also notice on my invoice, it states that any extra add-ons are additional 20%. So what that 20% is intended to do is help me not have to break down an hourly fee, because my hourly fee kind of varies depending on what the project is going to need. So these 20% that I've built in will help cover my extra hourly rate and any extra product that I need to buy for the piece. That's what works for me. I know a lot of people will do this differently. They'll actually figure out what they want their hourly rate to be, and then they'll figure it out from there. I don't do that. I find that the percentage on top of my base fee covers what I need just fine. So that's how I run it. Again, that's just me. If you want to do it differently, there's a lot of people that do it on, figure out their hourly rate, and you're welcome to do that. But the percentage has worked really well. Do you charge more for custom pieces than you would to redo and sell the same piece? Typically, no, I don't. It will end up coming out to about the same price, a little bit cheaper because they're actually providing the piece for me. When it gets to be more pricey is when they choose a lot of add-ons to their piece. So if they want something that's really, really fancy or ornate, or you're doing a whole bunch of different things to it, then the price of the piece is going to probably be more than what I would sell it for. A good example of this is the bar cart that you watched me flip a few weeks ago. I will link that somewhere in here. It's going to definitely be in my description if I can't throw it up in the cards at the top. But that bar cart, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it took me about 10 days to flip. Now my hourly rate on that would have been crazy. And then I've got, there was a whole lot going on. There was 2 colors on that piece. There was a lot of damage that needed to be fixed. The whole base had to be taken off. Legs had to be put on. The whole thing got wallpapered. New handles, all that kind of stuff would have really increased that price. But on that video, I talk about how I bartered on that one. So that's a really good video to watch if you're getting into this. Next one, how do you get custom work? So most people are going to tell you it's word of mouth, and it is word of mouth, but everybody that's starting off is like, well, how do you get word of mouth? The best way I have found to do this is on my business Facebook page. I will put, when I advertise something on Marketplace, I will put a link to my business page at the bottom of that ad, and I will say on the ad, I do custom work. I offer custom work. Send me a message to inquire if you want a custom piece done. Something like that. So that lets them know. Maybe they don't like that specific style of dresser that you've listed, or they like it, but they already have something they'd like to redo. That alerts that buyer that you are able to take their piece and do something similar to their piece. So not only does it get them over to your original business page, it also shows them a good idea of what your work looks like, so they know if something that they want done is something that you can handle, or if your style is something that they like and they'd like to seek out a piece to have you flip it. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video all about how to do custom furniture flips. If you have any further questions, please come find me on Instagram. I am happy to answer anything there. You can leave me a message down in the comment section below. I always check those as well. I try my very best to answer everything that I can. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to join me in a few weeks. I've got another exciting flip for you, and we'll see you next time on Lemons to Lemonade Furniture.